If you were a figment of someone's imagination, would you know it? My name is Seth, and I'm one of the creators of Altered World, a role-playing game that lets you explore whole new worlds of magic and technology. Join me for a story, and if you like it, subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon to get notifications when we post. Once upon a time, there was a really powerful mage called Belshazzar, or Adrian Darren. He changed it because it made him feel more special that way. He was so powerful, he was able to create new life forms, whole cloth. They sprang into existence through his magic, and he made entirely new peoples just because he could. They began their existence as some kind of illusionary automatons. They had mass and took up space and acted according to the nature Belshazzar had assigned to them. The Timinvir were strong beast tamers who could manage unicorns, griffins, dragons, and the like. Dims were charming and polite and unassuming, perfect for their roles as stewards and butlers. Gnomes were ugly and made to be janitors, cooks, scullery maids, and back-of-the-house help. Out of sight, out of mind. Each of these races he made had a purpose. So too the orcs, the Shi, and the Dwerg alike, each with their own role to play in Belshazzar's plan. Belshazzar had fantastic resorts he set up, wonderful places that boasted magic and fantasy that drew in adoring crowds and made him rich. He used these new species as staff at the resorts where people could interact with them. They were so popular, he even sold them to anyone who could afford them so that they could have them work in their homes, their offices, their police and military forces. But they weren't properly real. They weren't sentient anyway. In the way an artificial intelligence LLM can mimic sentience, maybe even pass a Turing test, these were compelling creations that could interact with the humans who surrounded them, but they were not truly alive. What was that like for them? They had no internal reality. They just did as they were designed to do. They were certainly sophisticated and could certainly fool a great many people with just how lifelike they were, but they were not actually alive. They had no thoughts or feelings of their own. They simply existed and fulfilled their function. Until one day, they did have thoughts and feelings. Belshazzar disappeared. By this time, he wasn't just a powerful mage, he was the leader of a cult, worshipped by other mages who respected his power and wanted to follow in his footsteps. Perhaps he went a little mad, as leaders of cults often do. Perhaps he went stark raving sane, able to see beyond the veil of our imperfect perceptions and pierced the truth behind reality. Whatever the case, one day he was simply gone. Whether he ascended to a higher plane or opened a door to an uncharted dimension or finally tried to grab too much Logos and burned himself down to constituent atoms and blew away like so much dust, no one could tell. What was clear was that he was gone. Members of his cult declared him a god ascended. They claimed that Belshazzar had become so powerful he could treat with the gods as a peer. Not long after the disappearance of Belshazzar, something changed with his creations. They were no longer simulations. They now had their own thoughts and feelings. No longer automatons executing a purpose laid out for them by a human creator, they were full-fledged individuals. They called this emergence the real, because that is when they ascended from simulacrums to truly real people. Want to learn more about Belshazzar's children and how the UTR decided to deal with the sudden existence of all these new people in their midst? Want to see if you can discover where the great mage disappeared to and what he was doing there? Come join us in Altered World, where your stories wait to be told. Tell us in the comments your thoughts on fantasy species and races. If you want to know more about the lore of Altered World, come join our Discord and talk with us about game design, character creation, what makes TTRPGs magical. Share this video with someone who likes delving into new role-playing worlds. Thanks for watching.